You're listening to The Lindia Grant Show. Think on these things with Lindia Grant.
Well, good evening, Radio 1 listeners. Thank you for tuning in to The Lindia Grant Show here on Spirit 1340 WYCB, the oldest gospel radio station in the nation and the first contemporary gospel outlet in the United States. We are a Radio 1 station. Today is Friday, April 5th, 2024. And we're so happy that you've joined us again today. We've been on now in a couple of months, 14 years. So we've been giving you some exciting shows, and we're always happy to be here with you. One of my guests was unable to make it today. Therefore, we're giving Dr. Julianne Malveaux the entire show. She's someone, my guest that couldn't make it is Dr. Sharon Malone. She's pretty exciting, a friend of Michelle Obama's, and she's got a new book out. You may know her, Dr. Julianne, but she's supposed to be my guest soon as they can get her date locked down. So let's hear from Dr. Julianne Malveaux now. She is a speaker extraordinaire. I try to cut down on her introduction so she can have more time. She travels all over the world. I love it. I wish I could be in her suitcase. I used to tell that to somebody. And she has been the president of college in North Carolina. She's been the dean in California. And just all-around go-getter. And I'd like to have her today as my guest for the entire show because we keep having to cut her off when she's trying to talk about politics, and there's so much going on. So, Dr. J, today you got the show.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Lindia, and congratulations on your nearly 14 years. And yes. I'm going to look forward to your episode with Dr. Sharon Malone. She, I don't know her well, but I do know her. She's a very good friend of several friends of mine who went to Harvard. Mm-hmm. So she's a brilliant woman. I'm sure she's got a lot to say, and we're going to look forward to her book and all the work that she does. And she, of course, is the spouse of former Attorney General Eric Holder.
Oh,
and, of
okay.
course, we know what kind of work he's done for our country. So it's congratulations on getting that, that interview. Well, I don't even know where to start, but since I have a lot of time, I'm going to stretch it out. No, I'm going to start with the beginning.
No, you don't have to, because you can talk, Dr. J. You don't even know how you stretch things out just talking about it.
Well, what I want to talk about today is the Middle East with the tragic killing of 7 workers for the World Central Kitchen. All of us know and admire Jose Andres. He is just a philanthropist writ large. When there have been disasters all over the world, whether it's Haiti, Ukraine, he's gone there with food and with his workers to deliver food where people didn't have any. And Israel has been using food as a weapon, keeping food from especially Palestinians and Gazians. And it's just ridiculous. But this takes the cake. Jose Andres' team told the IDF that they were bringing food. They came through through the water, a maritime route, and then they were going to some of the Gaza camps. Israel told them okay, and then they turned around 3 bombs bombed the caravan 3 times. 7 people dead. Netanyahu, he said, "Oh, it was inadvertent. They didn't mean to do it." Excuse me? Unintentional. He used inadvertent and unintentional. Didn't mean to do it. So when you killed the Palestinian students, young people, was that on purpose? Was that intentional? I mean, his use of language, he's kind of shrugging this thing off as if it's no big deal. But what he's done is he's exacerbated the situation in Gaza because Andres, understandably, said he's going to suspend operations for a while. He wants to reassess. But with 7 people dead, they have families. The question he has is this safe? Can we safely bring food? So again, Israel is using food as a weapon, attempting to starve people to death.
That's a shame.
things are just heating up over there. They've destroyed the hospital, the Al-Shita Hospital in Gaza. It looks, I've seen pictures of it online, and it looks just like a pile of rubble. So that was one of the few hospitals they had left. What's his name? Netanyahu says he wants to eliminate Gaza, but my thinking is that he wants to eliminate all Palestinian people. 33,000 Palestinians have died, at least. Another 40,000 injured. And where do the injured go? Well, by the way, where do the pregnant women go? There was a little piece on one of the news networks where they had an interview with a little girl, and she said they give them 1/4 of a bottle of water per day because they don't have enough water to go around.
Wow.
World Central Kitchen tried to bring the food there, and, not Netanyahu. Oh, it was unintentional. I can't talk about it anymore. It so makes me emotional. It's so disgusting and disturbing. So let me flip from the heavy to the light, and let's talk about the Elite Eight: Angela Reese and Caitlin Clark. I'm not that into sports at all, but this young black woman is incandescent, and the rivalry between Angela and Caitlin kind of reminds you of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird back in the day. They trash talk each other. But they're fierce competitors. They're respectful to each other. You could have seen, if you saw the end of the game yesterday, they gave each other a hug. And one Angel whispered to Caitlin, "Good luck. Keep doing it." And the other one whispered back, "You're a great player." They respect each other, but you're competing. This would not rise to my attention, Lindia, were it not for a reporter, opinion columnist for LA Times named Ben Block, Bolk, B-O-L-C. He is an evil human being. He's apologized by now, but he published a column on Saturday in which he described, it's so racist, he described Caitlin and her team as America's princesses, milk and cookies, but he described Angel and her team as what does he call them? It was, the word is missing because I've been so angry about it. But debutantes, devious debutantes, dirty debutantes, dirty debutantes. So and hot sauce, milk and cookies versus Louisiana hot sauce. America's darlings versus dirty debutantes. Now, I will tell listeners, if you Google dirty debutantes, because I had never heard the term before, it's pornography. It's pornography. Wow. So how these are little girls are 19, 20, 21. How dare he? But more importantly, how dare we allow the continued dehumanization of black women? Little Angel broke down at her post-game press conference yesterday evening and described all what she has been. She said, "I've been through a lot." She described it. But we're the ones who need to be apologizing. Black women, we take up for Kamala Harris. We take up for all of our sisters. We took up for Claudine Gay, President Harris. We need to take up for this little girl. And in taking up for her, one of the things that needs to happen, in my opinion, is Ben Bolch needs to pay a price. His little apology was not much.
Yeah.
If he can't hold his pen better than that, he doesn't need to have one. LA Times needs to put him back in the mailroom or something like that. But I am going to follow up with some sisters to see what can we do about him. Now, girl, let's talk about Baltimore.
No. Let's go to commercial break, and then we're going to start with Baltimore because there's two things going on over there that I want you to talk about. I hope you will. But the state's attorney, too. You got that news on her, too? The scoop? Mostly? Okay. All right.
But I'll have it by the time we come back from commercial break.
The petitions are going around trying to keep her from going to prison. We're going to a commercial break, listeners. and we're going to be back in a moment to continue to talk about politics and the economy with Dr. Julianne Malveaux. Back in a moment.
If it wasn't for my care coach at AmeriHealth, I probably wouldn't be so healthy right now. As a man, we don't get checkups or see a doctor regularly anyways. It's probably just a man thing because none of my partners go either. We know we should, but we just don't, and hope it works out.
So what changed for you?
AmeriHealth assigned me a care coach, somebody that gives one-on-one help, answer questions, explain things, and help set my appointments. She also helped me understand what having high blood pressure really means and ways to manage it so it doesn't kill me. It ain't nothing to play with. If you're a member of AmeriHealth, ask for a care coach. I'm glad I got mine.
At AmeriHealth, if you need a care coach, you can have one. Just call us at 1-877-759-6224 to get connected. 1-877-759-6224. This program is funded in part by the government of the District of Columbia Department of Healthcare Finance. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Washington and former religion columnist Lyndia Grant.
Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a segregated Montgomery bus. In lectures on brotherhood, Ms. Parks often said, "People always say that I didn't give up my seat because I was tired. But that wasn't true. I was not tired physically. I was not old. I was 42. No, the only tired I was tired of giving in." Driven out of Montgomery by harassment and death threats, Detroit, Michigan became her new home. Rosa Parks will always be remembered as the mother of the civil rights movement. Raised in the AME church, she once said, "I remember finding such comfort and peace while reading the Bible."
Read more in the religion column of the Washington Informer, an award-winning African-American newspaper. We don't report crime or gossip, just positive news. Pick up the Washington Informer or visit us online at washingtoninformer.com. Call 202-561-4100 for more information.
This is Frank Smith with the African American Civil War Museum in Washington, D.C., located at 1925 Vermont Avenue Northwest on the Green Line. Did you know that a recent study found that children who visit museums do better in school and in life than children who do not? So parents, teachers, and preachers, let's get moving. I promise you, if you bring your children to the African American Civil War Museum, they will be inspired by the images that they see. They will be impressed by our living history reenactors who are always available, and they will be involved in our scavenger hunt that takes them throughout our exhibit. That's the African American Civil War Museum, 1925 Vermont Avenue. Our hours are 10 to 6:30 on weekdays, 12 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. See it, be inspired.
And we are back. You're listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. We're going to continue to talk to our special guest today, our regular Dr. Julianne Malveaux. She's talking about politics and the economy. Dr. Julianne, go ahead and talk to us about what's going on in Baltimore.
Well, first of all, the bridge collapsed, and President Biden has pledged to replace the bridge, pay for it, pledged to do something for the workers. We're happy about that. But the collapse of that bridge has brought out all kind of stupid racism from various and sundry members of Congress. The young man, Brandon Scott, who is the mayor of Baltimore, I admire him so much. They have called him a DEI mayor. Why is that? He's a young black man. He won an election. Nobody appointed him mayor. So where's the DEI in that? Mm-hmm. One of the legislators, Congress people, said because there's a black man or woman, I'm not sure, on the Port Commission, that's a DEI part. Again, give me a break.
But black people can't be on anything unless it's DEI. Exactly.
And this young brother has taken a brick bat, and he's handled himself very well. Both he and Governor Westmore, who also got some pushback about his race, both of them said, look, I don't have time for that. And that's the right answer. I don't have time for that. But see, I do have time for it because we need to be very vigilant about this anti-DEI stuff. It really means anti-blackness. Now, but, Baltimore is our sister, it's our neighbor city. A lot of good things going on there. Mayor Scott has reduced crime by roughly 20%. Now, he didn't reduce it himself, but his policies have reduced crime significantly.
Yes, they have.
Meanwhile, Marilyn Mosby, who I remember meeting her. She's a sorority sister, and she's just good people. But she was convicted of mortgage fraud, of all things, and also of perjury. Now, mortgage fraud is you lied on your mortgage application. I'm not going to out myself because I don't know if I lied on mine or not. You try to get the income together to make sure you get the house you want, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But here's what we do know. Probably a third, according to a friend of mine who's a mortgage broker, probably a third of the people who have mortgages have bent the truth. They didn't necessarily lie, bent the truth on their mortgage application. Mm-hmm. Sometimes in order to look like you have enough money, you might borrow money from a friend so that when the mortgage company checks, they see that you have $20,000 instead of $5,000. Now, as soon as you clear, you give your friend the money back. But so mortgage fraud is not unusual. They just were out to get that woman because she went after those police officers who killed Freddie Gray. So they went up.
That's right. That's right.
Now what else is going on? They want to just bar her. But Ife Williams, our sister and our friend, who really does not play, she has a petition out to make sure that Ms. Mosley does not get jail time. We don't know what's going to happen there. The judge is the one who made that decision, but there's lots of popular sentiment to say, no, she does not need jail time for mortgage fraud. Mm-hmm. But most people who do mortgage fraud get, guess what, Linda? A fine.
Right. Yeah.
They get a fine. So why are they trying to send this black woman to jail? Well, the same reason they're calling Angel Reese a dirty debutante.
But Dr. J, can I just interject? I had kept up with it, and her husband did it without telling her. And she was upset with him, almost ready to divorce him over that. But because it happened and it's still in her name, that's, they both, I heard them both interviewed about it. Now, unless they were trying to cover it up, I believe that.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. It's very, very likely to be what had happened. So this is hands off Marilyn Mosby, and my brothers and sisters in Baltimore, get these people together. This racism is there's racism everywhere. I'm not blaming Baltimore, but I mentioned Angel Reese twice, and so I want to give us some good news, and I think it's good news, even though I usually oppose this kind of thing. The D.C. Council just voted $535 million to modernize Capitol Arena. Mayor Bowser, I'll give her high props for this one. She snatched that stuff out of Glenn Youngkin's jaws. He was licking his lips thinking that he had our teams. They offered more than $1 billion. But she said, no, the city will spend enough money to modernize, and having done that, the team said they'll stay. So kudos to Mayor Bowser and to Glenn Youngkin.
Yes.
Speaking of, this would be funny, but it's not. 7 congressional Republicans would like to name Dulles Airport after guess who?
No, go ahead, please. Don't let me hear it.
The Orange Man.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that. I was about to get hysterical just hearing it.
It's ridiculous. Why would they want to name that airport after him? But that's what they say they want to do. And meanwhile, don't they have anything else to do? We're sitting here, Ukraine, Israel, abortion, that bridge that they have to appropriate money for, and 7 Republicans say, no, let's name Dulles Airport after that man. That's ridiculous.
He loves Ronald Reagan. I think he probably got some people to do that. That's something he wants. I'm just telling the people what I believe. He wants an airport named after him. He wants to chase behind Ronald Reagan.
Well, in addition to that, he's a narcissist. He wants stuff named after him.
Yes.
That's, it's ridiculous. But anyway, it would be funny if it wasn't. Abigail Spanberger, who I just love so much, I think she's great, running for governor in Virginia, she says, this is not happening. And she talks about how there are so many other things that need to be done. Why would we do this? Another Democrat from Virginia, Jerry Conley, said, this man is facing 91 felony charges. If they want to name something after him, how about a federal prison? I like that. Anyway,
I do too.
Anyway, that's what's going on there, and it's ridiculous. Now I want to talk about HBCUs for a minute. The state of Tennessee has the governor of Tennessee has dissolved the board of Tennessee State University, which is it's a land grant HBCU. So he's basically fired the board and put on that board people that he wants, people that he likes. He kicked the student trustees. Customarily, they have student trustees. Kicked the students off the board. And just said, we're going to do whatever. Now, on Monday, Roland Martin broadcast live a town hall meeting and press conference that was called by Reverend William Barber of the Repairers the Breach and many others, and the two student trustees. They called a press conference to talk about what's happening at HBCUs. Because when we look at these HBCUs that are being starved, they're all in former Confederate states. What does that tell you? Yet again, I guess my theme today is anti-blackness. Because yet again, we have this anti-blackness going on. And so when we talk about Tennessee, some people would say, well, Malveaux, why are you talking about Tennessee? You're not from Tennessee. Well, because we have 16 states that have HBCUs, and many of them have land-grant colleges. And the land-grant colleges are the ones, it's federal money that goes to the state to be divided among the land-grant colleges. And as you know, black folks always get the short end of the stick. Tennessee State University, according to estimates, has been underfunded by more than $2 billion. Wow. Collectively, for Southern HBCUs, land-grant schools have been underfunded by $16 billion. So when you sometimes go to an HBCU, you say, oh, that building didn't look right, ask whether the legislature paid what they were supposed to pay to these HBCUs. Now, Tennessee is also very interesting. They have a supermajority in the House and in the Senate. So on Thursday morning, they're supposed to pass some legislation. It's anti-reparations legislation. So they want to make it impossible to even use the word reparations. I mean, so you take our books, you ban our books, you try to shut down our colleges, and you don't even want us to have a word that represents the wealth gap that exists in our country. I say no, hell no, and more no. It's just really ridiculous.
It sounds, before you go to your next story, doesn't it sound like what happened way back in the 50s? The first bill about the education, trying to match our education up so that we could be equal. This is taken away again.
Well, here's the problem with us, Linda. We have to constantly pay attention. A lot of people will say, well, I can't pay attention all the time. Well, you better. Yeah. They're paying attention to us, so we better pay attention to them. And we can't stop the fight for freedom. We cannot stop the fight for freedom. So, yeah, it does sound very woefully like the 50s. Now, I don't hate to give this man any ink at all, and that's why I'm going to mention the ellipse first, just because this is what I think of the former president. First, I'll talk about the ellipse for just 30 seconds. It's coming on Monday, March 8th. And the sun will go dark if you don't look at it.
April 8th.
April 8th. I look at my notes. It says M8. Well, M stands for Monday. So it's April 8th, and the ellipse will occur. Don't look at it unless you have those special glasses. Yeah. But wherever you are, and in parts of D.C., I believe, will go a little dark. It's not going to go completely dark. It's not a complete ellipse. But
at what time? What time it would be?
It's midday. I don't have.
Okay, it's going to depend. So we'll all be out in the streets. Yeah,
absolutely. So that's the ellipse. The ellipse is really important. Much more important than that man. He posted his bond. It was $175 million bond. It was underwritten by a guy named Don Hankey, who specializes in auto loans. But he's still in the news because he can't behave himself. The judge he's gone after the judge's relatives to the point that the judge has had to issue another gag order on him. But here's his strategy, and we should be real clear about it. His strategy is to tick the judge off to the point that the judge recuses himself. So then if he recuses himself, they got to start all over. So that's what he's doing. He's acting like a petulant child, but guess what? He's getting away with it. he's really getting away with it. But he must know that his days are numbered. Otherwise, he would, if he was really correct, he would act like he was. Keep his mouth shut.
Yeah, he's doing whatever he feels like right now. He probably want to get arrested so he can start some stuff.
Exactly. He wants to, usually if you're found in contempt of court, you could be fined or you could be incarcerated. But how do you incarcerate him? I mean, many of us relish the thought, but politically it plays right into his hands. He wants to be the victim. And meanwhile, and he is a victim of his own stupidity. His so-called media company lost $1 billion last year. $1 billion. They say it took a bloodbath. It didn't perform. And so while he's talking about his wealth and his money and all that, he's not managing that company. Again, he shows us how inept he is, but unfortunately too many of our friends and colleagues, although he's inept, continue to support him either because they like his policies or because they enjoy his putrid personality.
Well, we're out of time, Dr. J. We talked right through it. I know you still had some more. I know you did. You always do. I love you. You always have plenty of news. You can go for a whole hour.
Probably good.
Yes. But we thank you for being our guest today, Dr. Julianne Malveaux. You really caught me up because I've been listening to mellow music again.
Sometimes you got to listen to mellow music. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you today.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for tuning in to the Lindy Grant Show. Pick up a copy of the Washington Informer newspaper and read your Religion Corner. My column is there every week. Thank you for tuning in. Next week, we're going to have another exciting guest. We're also going to have Attorney Dana Stebbins on again, but she's also going to have another special guest. I can't think of his name right this minute, but anyway, you all know him. He used to be the lieutenant governor, and he's on MSNBC. And he has already said yes. We just got to get his date together. So we're going to close with "My people perish for the lack of knowledge." And I want to also let you all know that Philippians 4:6 says, "Think on these things." From the Lindy Grant Show, I'm your host, Lindy Grant. Until next week, good day.
Thank you for listening to the Lindy Grant Show. Think on these things with your host, Lindy Grant.